broadly speaking, it's not only like we've won the debate, we've like just crushed the, and it's not just me, there's lots of people involved in this, you more so probably than anyone. But when you see, like, you look at the polls, there was this one poll I saw, and this is just one poll, but there's a lot that back this up, but that it was before October 7th, they'd ask, who do you sympathize with more, the Israelis or the Palestinians? And it was plus 48 for the Israelis. Yeah. It's now plus 1 for the Palestinians. And
in the U.S.
In the U.S. And to just think, so basically a 50-point shift in a little over 2 years. And Tucker, I mean, I don't know, you were doing this for longer than me. When does that ever happen? When does any issue ever swing by 50 points in 2 years? It would be like if I were to tell you in 2 years this country would be 95% pro-life. You'd be like, it's like, whoa, what happened in those 2 years? Yeah. Well, I mean, the pro-lifers must have really won the argument. You know what I mean? Like, and so now that we've had, for the first time ever, a media environment where, say, Israel is not completely protected. Like, what were the debates about supporting Israel on MSNBC or CNN? No, they don't exist. They never happen. You're not allowed to have those debates there. There's not, maybe like one kind of critical of Israel host will slip in here or there, but if he says too much, he's getting fired pretty quickly. And so we essentially won the debate. It's not close. It's not. But there's not a question
so
of
fast.
Yes, in a very short period of time, because there was actually a fair, open media system now, where it was really democratized in a way, and so you can't look at you're bigger than you've ever been before. Candace Owens is bigger than she's ever been before. I know I'm bigger than I've ever been before. Ben Shapiro is weaker and more of a laughingstock than ever before. It's just very odd. But then, at the same time, who won the policy game? Mark Levin. The president is tweeting, go watch Mark Levin's show today. And his base, his voters are going, I think I'll check out Tucker Carlson. I think I'll. And so, So anyway, there's just this very weird thing where, like, we won the argument. We had the national debate. We won. And yet we're at war with Iran on behalf of Israel. And I think what you're getting at is, like, that does just feel totally unsustainable. Like, there's either you got to clamp down on these guys like us, or you got to reverse the policy. And really hoping it's the latter.
People don't like to be criticized for their mistakes. And I know this from having a wife and children. Totally fine to be, criticized for something you feel confident is the right thing. But if you screw something up and someone says, say, I told you, you want to shoot the person. It's very hard for people to deal with that. And so if you have a war like this, which is obviously, this is one of the most profound moments of my lifetime. Mm-hmm. This is much more profound than 9/11, I think. Thankfully, not as, relatively few Americans have died, but you can see that this is the end of something. And the consequences are very, very serious. In the middle of that, to criticize the decision to start the process that led to this, it feels like you're going to be punished for that.
Yeah.
Do you feel that?
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. And I almost, like on some, I don't know, in some way, I feel like the political thing or the wise calculation here would almost be to be like, Mr. President Trump, you did such a phenomenal job with this, and it's such a success that we should just stop right now and declare victory or something like, you know what I mean? But I'm just no good at being a political operative. No, I'm only good at telling the truth. Like, it's all I only have one speed. Ben Shapiro called me out recently and called me a bunch of names, and then she said, I know, I can hear Dave right now saying, debate me, bro. Like, if you believe this, why don't you debate me? And he goes, no, I don't debate with it. But he's kind of right in a way that is my response.
Of course.
I mean, I only have one speed. It's all I know how to do. Like, come podcast with me. Like, I don't know anything else. So,
well, because you're rooted in kind of the old America where, there was a free market, not just in the economy, but like intellectually, free market of ideas.
Yeah. We're supposed to have it at least.
That the whole country was built on that.
Yeah,
idea.
and but Ben
Shapiro and et cetera, they don't share that view at all.
He knows the ideas can't hold up. I mean, he'll debate a 19-year-old gender confused kid because he knows he can win that debate. Yeah. It's not that kid's more serious than me. That's not really the issue. But anyway, I guess So just that, like, I only have one speed. I only know how to just tell you what I think is really going on here. And I think you're right. I think this is such a disaster because Donald Trump, first of all, it'd be very difficult at this point, even if he wanted to just stop the thing, which I think he does at this point, want to stop the thing. I think it seems to me like he believed this could be quick and easy like Venezuela, and we're way past that at this point. But he can't just stop now. But obviously, there's the Iranians and the Israelis are involved in this too, and it doesn't seem like either of them want to stop right now. No. So there you got a big problem. But also, look, this isn't Venezuela. There's I don't know what the latest CENTCOM numbers are. I thought 13 dead Americans was the last I saw. The 150 plus wounded number came out weeks ago. I don't know what that's up to now. Our bases and in the region have been very badly damaged. The damage to the global economy is so it's not Venezuela. You can't just come out of this and then pretend something really great happened. If he stops right now, then it's like, oh, you just started a disaster for no reason on behalf of a foreign country. Like, this is just awful. And then there's a couple factors. I've seen this play. I know you've seen this over the years, certainly during the global war on terrorism, where there is, I guess, what you could call like the sunk cost fallacy of war, which is the worst of all sunk cost fallacies. But it's you go, well, those boys died for nothing if we don't finish the job. And it's like, oh man, is that a bad trap to get into? Because the reality is that those boys died for nothing. That's over. And if you continue this, more boys will die for nothing.
That's correct.
And so no one, Pierce Morgan had a panel once, or a debate between Scott Horton, who is as you've had him on the show, the most incredible foreign policy guy in the country, like just unbelievable levels of brilliance. And his books, Enough Already, Fool's Errand, which are about the global war on terrorism, are the best books written on the subject. His book Provoked about the war in Ukraine is the best book written on the subject.
They're literally exhaustive. I only know Scott Horton because of you and what improvement to my life.
Yeah, I mean, he has been such an incredible resource. Like, he's a great friend of mine, one of my closest friends, but he's also he's like my mentor in the foreign policy stuff. And he's just so great because he's such a tool because he's got a photographic memory. So like, I can literally just call him at any point and you'll just be like, when Iran invaded Iraq in 1980, in 1982, weren't they fighting here? And then he'll just be like, yeah, they were fighting here and here. And then this guy has all their names and everything. It's really incredible. But so he was debating Wesley Clark on Pierce Morgan's show. Talk about the new media world that we live in and how crazy it is now that Scott Horton gets to square off with a 4-star general. And Wesley Clark, who, look, I have my issues with him, but he did give us that great admission about the 7 countries in 5 years. So I'll always kind of be grateful to him. Now he tries to walk that back, but we all heard what you said. But he goes at one point talking about, I believe it was Gaza, if I'm getting this correct. He said this was while it was still, intensely going on. And he goes, but if we just leave now, then Hamas gets to say they won. And you're like, sir, general, that's your opinion on war? Yeah. But that's a recipe to be in forever war always.